Imagine waking up tomorrow, walking outside, and realizing the sun is gone. Not because it's night, not because of a passing storm. The entire sky is sealed shut. A thick, choking blanket of black ash stretching from one horizon to the other. Within 48 hours, global temperatures crash by 20 degrees. Summer disappears overnight. Rivers turn into gray, toxic sludge. And a freezing darkness settles over the entire planet. A darkness that doesn't lift in 3 months. It lasts for 10 years. No central heating. No grocery stores. No weather app counting down the days. Just you wrapped in animal hide, trying to keep your family breathing through a winter with no end in sight. 70,000 years ago, this actually happened, and it nearly wiped us off the map. The explosion that broke the sky. To understand how close we came to vanishing, we have to go back to an island in Southeast Asia. Early humans were spreading across the planet, hunting, gathering, building lives. Then, in a matter of seconds, the ground tore open. A supervolcano named Toba detonated. For scale, when Mount St. Helens erupted in 1980, it flattened the landscape and made history. Toba was over 5,000 times more powerful. It carved a crater 40 miles wide and hurled billions of tons of ash, rock, and gas straight into the upper atmosphere. Within a week, that ash had wrapped itself around the entire globe. Sunlight dropped by 90%. Plants stopped photosynthesizing and died within days. Forests collapsed. Grasslands froze into dust. The giant animals our ancestors depended on for food began starving, and so did we. The hole in our DNA. Here's where it gets unsettling. When modern geneticists mapped human DNA, they found something they couldn't explain. A strange, narrow bottleneck in our history. Compare us to chimpanzees. Their genetic diversity is enormous. More variation exists within a single chimp troop than across all 8 billion humans on Earth. Two people born on opposite ends of the planet share DNA that's almost identical. Why? Because when Toba erupted, the human population didn't just shrink. It collapsed. Genetic evidence suggests our entire species was reduced to somewhere between 1,000 and 10,000 breeding individuals. Sit with that for a second. Every language, every city, every person watching this right now, all of it, traces back to a group of survivors small enough to fit inside a single high school gymnasium. We were one bad decade away from never existing. How a handful of people outlasted the dark. They had no technology. What they had was adaptability, and it was enough. They moved to the coasts. Inland continents froze into dead zones. Survivors pushed toward the oceans, where the water held its warmth, and the sea kept giving up fish and shellfish even when the land gave nothing. Fire became sacred. In an ash-choked world, striking a new flame was next to impossible. Losing your fire overnight could mean freezing before sunrise, so tribes assigned firekeepers. People whose only job was guarding the coals, hauling embers in moss-lined containers every time the group moved. They stayed close. Food got shared. Shelters got dug deeper into rock. The bond between people became as critical to survival as the fire itself. 10 years later, the ash finally began to clear. Real sunlight touched the earth again, and the handful of people who made it through stepped out to rebuild everything. Every single human alive today is their descendant. It's not over. Here's the part nobody wants to say out loud. Toba wasn't a one-off. Supervolcanoes are baked into this planet's geology. And one is sitting right now beneath Yellowstone National Park, a magma chamber 40 miles long. If it erupts, the physics don't change. Ash for hundreds of miles, collapsed agriculture, falling temperatures, another volcanic winter. The only thing that's different this time is scale. 70,000 years ago, a few thousand survivors had to outlast the dark. Today, 8 billion people would have to. Our ancestors didn't make it through because they were the strongest species on the planet. They made it through because they adapted, they cooperated, and they refuse to let the fire go out. So next time you look up at a clear blue sky, remember what it cost to get here. If this kind of history makes you rethink how fragile everything actually is, subscribe. The next one might keep you up at night.